What's up, guys? I'm BTC. We got some possible hints for a brand new map, along with some teasers for the upcoming archive event. I'm going to start with the teaser for what appears to be an unreleased map, and this might be connected to the upcoming archive event. More on that a little bit later. Over in the spawn area, the airport of Nubani, one of the posters on the walls has been changed, and this previously was Temple of Anubis, and now it is Havana, Cuba. Now, it's not animated, but the old Temple of Anubis one wasn't animated either, which is kind of weird because Hanamura Volskaya and King's Row have always been animated, so why the old Temple of Anubis and the new Havana one aren't animated doesn't really make any sense. Maybe they just didn't feel like it, I don't know. But this isn't the only location. You could also go over to the tourist area where they book the trips and stuff like that, and that has also been changed from Temple of Anubis to Havana. Just on kind of a funny little side note, since the only thing that was changed was the poster, can you imagine a Nubani employee going in there, seeing all the destruction and the broken Omnics, swapping out the poster, and just leaving saying the rest is not my problem? I just think that's kind of funny. The latest hero, Batiste, is from Haiti and not Havana, Cuba, but he was part of this Caribbean task force kind of army, and it's very likely that he's traveled there or that there were missions in that area and all that sort of stuff. So this could very well be part of that. Let's move on to the archive event. There's a couple of things I want to point out. First is in the Paris map, you have all of this Omnic stuff going on. You also have that letter that seems to have some information that appears to be from Maximilian. That's kind of hidden the text in the background that when you had to change the contrast of the image. Both that letter and some audio that can be heard in the police station on the Paris map reference what appears to be a female Omnic named Vote, but I don't think that has anything to do with the archive event. If anything, I think that's setting up for something in the future that's going to happen, whereas the archive events are things that have already happened in the past. Before I get into what the event is possibly going to be, let's talk about the release date of the event and also when we're going to get the teasers and possibly the comic for it. So the first event took place in April of 2017. At the very beginning of April, we started to get these little teasers talking about an upcoming thing. And then on April 5th, we got a full comic that explained a lot of what was going on. And then the following Tuesday, on April 11th, we got the actual event itself, Overwatch Uprising. In April 2018, the very first week of April, actually the very end of March, we started getting a couple of little teasers. And then on the first Wednesday, which was April 4th, we got the Retribution comic. And then the following Tuesday, we got the full event itself, which was Overwatch Retribution on April 10th. So if you're noticing, there's a very clear pattern here. About a week or so beforehand, we start getting a couple little teasers on Twitter, then we get a full comic on the first Wednesday, and then the following Tuesday, we get the event itself. So for this year, April 2019, we're probably going to start to get a couple of teasers at the very end of March, and then on Wednesday the 3rd, we'll get the comic, and then on the 9th of April, we'll get the full event itself. Now, what is this event going to be? I think there are two really good possibilities. The first possibility is that this could be a Talon mission. We had one from Overwatch and then Blackwatch, and now we might have one from Talon, because there are enough Talon members to fill out a 4-man roster. There wouldn't be a tank in that lineup, but as we saw last year with Retribution, you don't really need a tank. You can just use DPS and have at least one healer, and then you can have more creative ways of dealing with all the enemies. So that not having a tank isn't that big of a deal. However, with the other events, Uprising and Retribution, those took place a long time ago in the timeline of Overwatch. So if it was Talon, in order for it to work properly, it would have to be a little bit more recent. It could still be a little further back, but it wouldn't be nearly as far back as some of the other events. So what would happen is this could possibly be related to the Havana map that I just talked about, where maybe there's some mission that's going on there, and maybe that's the thing that finally makes Batiste finally say, all right, you know what? I don't want anything more to do with Talon or whatever. So this is entirely possible. Now, you might say that, well, they just released the Paris map. In fact, just today it went into competitive. But the thing is, Blizzard is actually a little bit behind on releasing new maps. Normally, that first map of the year would have been released a little while ago, and then they would release a second one with the Archive event, which is next month. That they could have just had both of them being worked on, and the Paris map got pushed out a little bit late, but we're still going to get a new map for the Archive event, which would kind of double up. It would be for the event, and it would be put into the regular cycle of quick play and competitive and all that stuff. So while it seems like it's a little close, it's not completely out of the question. As for the characters, you have 6 possibilities: Baptiste, Doomfist, Moira, Reaper, Sombra, and Widowmaker. I think you can cross Moira and Reaper off because they were in it last year, and I don't really see them doubling it up. And then you're left with the healer, Baptiste, Doomfist, who can kind of be like the sponge or the off-tank of the group. You have Sombra and Widowmaker as damage, and that would definitely work. You could have some very creative fights that you could have with that type of a grouping. Also, I want to point out that all of those characters are capable of very good vertical mobility, which means they could have different sections where you have to jump really high in order to progress, in order to get to different areas of the map, because all of them can do that. Now, because they're likely going to do an all-hero mode like they did the last couple years, it's very likely that if you're an all-hero, then some extra door would open up so that you don't need to have characters with vertical mobility. It's just when you're doing it the normal way with those specific Talon characters, you have to go to the high ground. So I think that would be really cool, and it's definitely a possibility. That's the first possibility. The second possibility is if it's still going to be an Overwatch mission, and I originally thought when they released the Paris map that this was going to revolve around the kidnapping of Widowmaker before she became Widowmaker. Because Talon was trying to get her husband many times, they couldn't get him, so what they did was they kidnapped her, they brainwashed her, and then they kind of let her get rescued, and then a couple weeks later she ended up killing her husband and mission accomplished, and then she went back to Talon, she got more training and, you know, the whole blue skin and all that sort of stuff. What ended up happening with the release of the Paris map was they also included a bunch of stuff in these little kind of packages that certain select people ended up getting. I never got one, but the Blizzard never sends me anything. Some of the things that were included in there were perfume, postcards, fake tickets, and also a key to a hotel room. And over on the official Overwatch Instagram account for EU, someone asked, what is the key open? And the official account responded with a certain door in a certain hotel on the Paris map. Now, this hotel does exist. If you zoom in, it's really difficult to see. The key belongs to the Hotel of Beau Ciel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. It translates roughly to beautiful sky, and that is the hotel on the Paris map. Now, if you go and look behind the counter, the keys are completely different. They look a lot more sci-fi, whereas the key that comes in the care package thingy is a more traditional, kind of like a hotel, motel-looking key that would actually be from like a long time ago, because we don't even use that stuff anymore. Everybody uses little cards and stuff. Anyways, the point is, when this Instagram account said that, are they just joking? Are they being serious? Are they hinting at something in the future? It could possibly be, because they spent all the time making the Paris map. It's entirely possible that the Archive event could be there, and you have to go through various parts and then rescue Widowmaker from that hotel. Like maybe she's kind of hidden away in one of the rooms or something. Now, if you look in the Paris map itself, a lot of the hotel is not accessible. Like, you can go into kind of the dining area, and you can also go into the main lobby, but you can't go into any of the other parts. But it seems like the hotel is actually quite big. So if Blizzard was to do what they did with the Rialto map, where they basically expanded it and added little sections, they cut off certain parts and they added other parts, because the Retribution map, you can go to certain areas that you can't go to when it's in the normal Rialto map. So it's possible that they could do that. They just take all of the existing stuff and they, change it up a little bit, and you can have a completely different map. If it is going to be a rescue mission, it would make the most sense to use the Blackwatch guys, as that's kind of their thing, sneaking in. But seeing as we just had a mission for them last year, I don't think they're going to be used, so we can cross off Genji, McCree, Moira, and Reaper. Mei is also in Overwatch, but she's been a popsicle for the last 10 years, so that's probably not going to happen. And then out of the remaining characters, I think they're more likely to use ones that haven't been in the previous than they are to double up. So you have Ana, who's a pretty good pick for the new healer, Soldier as new damage, and then possibly Winston. But I mean, are you really going to use Winston in a rescue mission? I don't know. And then the fourth one, I mean, it could be Torbjorn, it could be Tracer. They're probably going to go with Tracer because she's the recruit and she's supposed to be building experience and this and that, blah, 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 whatever. I do remember in one of the more recent lore editions where Soldier told Ana, he was kind of joking about, why did you ever send Reinhardt on a stealth mission? You know, it was a disaster, that sort of thing, blah, 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 kind of a joke. So it's possible that maybe Reinhardt goes along with this, so you could have Ana, Reinhardt, Soldier, and Tracer. If I had to pick between these two scenarios, the Talon or the Overwatch one, I would definitely go with Talon. I think that character composition would be a lot more interesting and a lot more fun, but you know, it could be anything. So which one do you think is going to be the new archive event? And I will be making a video going over my predictions for what characters I think are going to be getting a new legendary. What scenario would you like better, the Talon or the Overwatch? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.